Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of podcasting. And we're going to kind of look at this from two lenses. One, as a teacher or instructor, how can you bring in existing podcasts into your classroom? What are the benefits of that? And where can you go and find those existing podcasts? Sometimes you might want to bring an expert voice into the classroom. Sometimes you might just be looking for another perspective on something. And sometimes it might just be a topic that you aren't an actual expert on and you want to see what others have to say about it. So we're going to be looking at finding existing podcasts as well as how to create your own podcasts. And I'd also encourage you to think about this in terms of not only you creating podcasts, but is there a benefit and is there a value add to students creating a podcast? And this may depend a lot on what your topic is, as well as the audience that you are teaching in your class. So where we're starting here is an article that I really love because it talks about a lot of skills that podcasting can bring to students. And so this is sort of that third lens of would we consider doing podcasting in the classroom? I just want us to look at this really quickly. We think about, oh, well, they'd be learning technology skills. That's true. But what else is out there in terms of skill building for using podcasting? Collaboration skills, writing skills, speaking, presentation, communication, of course, oral fluency, auditory skills, storytelling skills, media literacy, we kind of mentioned that, information literacy, and technology skills. So thinking about podcasting, not just in terms of that's a fun technology to use, but what else can students gain from this? So the first lens that I talked about is, as a teacher, how can you find existing podcasts to bring into the classroom? So let's take a look at that now. Okay, I pulled up here in front of us a Google document that I put together on where to find podcasts for the classroom. And this is a lot of different links. Some are directly to a repository of podcasts, and some are to articles about specific topics or age groups that this would most likely target. So I'm going to link this in the description area so that you can go to this if you would like. Feel free to make a copy or share it, anything that you want. So when you are looking for a podcast, of course, there's a plethora of options. And I want to pause just for a second and say this. Podcasting was kind of one of those things that's been popular for years, but it really had a resurgence, I don't know, I'd say in the last 2 or 3 years. I remember maybe 5 years ago having a conversation with somebody on campus that was a digital media specialist. And he said, I really feel like in the near future, podcasts are going to become even bigger and more popular. And he was totally right. And they have. So this is really an area that I think is worth diving into. Okay. Side note over. So if we scroll down here, you can see we've got a lot of different options here and a lot of different age groups targeted here. Here's one for math and for teens. And then I also have a section here on college students. These are different kinds of podcasts. Some are content specific and some are about just kind of mental health and things like that. So I'd encourage you to take a look at these. I'll just open one of these. If we go to, say, Kids Listen, and we open up that page, what you're going to find here are a lot of different categories, a lot of different types of podcasts that you could take a look at. So let's say we were looking for these mysteries. When we click on here, you'll be able to see that this one's by date. This was last week. And you can share these very easily. Some of them have a shareable link button for it, like this one does. Some of them, you would just grab the link up here at the top. But they are all going to have kind of their own way to search, like I went here, and find what you're looking for. And you might need to go through a few to find some that would work best for your classroom. I know when we were having school from home, I had my kids listen to a couple of podcasts and do a flip grid on it. What did you learn out of it? What was surprising for you? Maybe what questions do you still have? And the ones we were doing, I think, were more science-based. But there's a lot of options and a lot of ways to get students to respond to these podcasts. They could create their own podcast on what they learned. They could have group discussions. They could work in groups and create kind of a news show about what they learned. So a lot of different things you can do with this. But I think the first step is sort of how do you incorporate already existing podcasts? Because there really are so many out there. The next step might be, how would you or students create a podcast that you might want to share with others? Maybe it's just students turning them in to you for a grade to test their knowledge. Maybe it's you putting out instructions for students or feedback for them on something that they worked on. I've got 3 resources to show you with varying degrees of learning curve and varying features that you could use. So the first one I'm going to show you is called Vocaroo. This is a very easy tool, very easy, where you will record your voice and then you'll get a URL that you can share out with others. It's just that simple. So here we are at vocaroo.com. I can click here to record. Hi everybody, this is my podcast on the tool called Vocaroo. This will allow us to record and then share our recording with others. This will last online for a few months. Generally what I've seen is somewhere between 3 and 4 months. All right, I went ahead and stopped that. You see but I can play it for you here. Hi everybody, this is my podcast. You see how that worked? I can save and share here. So here's the link. I can send it to anybody or post it anywhere. I can also choose to download this. If I do, it's going to download as an MP3 file. Okay, Vocaroo, very, very simple. Meant to be a quick recording that you can then share with others. The next one is called Online Voice Recorder. Pretty appropriately named. The URL is literally online-voice-recorder.com. And this one is meant to be a download kind of thing. So we can click here to start recording. I'll go ahead and do that now. Hi again, everybody. This tool is called onlinevoicerecorder.com. It allows us to record our voice and then download it and post it anywhere you would like. Notice there was a share or a pause button as well. You didn't have to end it if you weren't quite done with it yet. This one's worth noting too that there's a little bit of editing pieces that you can use. So there was some dead air here at the beginning. I can trim that off to the beginning and the end if I choose to. Then I can choose to save it. Then when I do, you can see that I'm downloading it as an MP3 file. So Vocaroo allows for a sharing from their site or a download, and Online Voice Recorder allows us to edit and then save down if we choose to do it that way. Both of them very simple, meant to be pretty quick and straightforward recording of your voice. Both are great. But maybe you're looking for something just a little bit more. Maybe you're looking to add some sound effects. Maybe you're really looking to put out episodes and it's not just a quick recording. Maybe you're looking to do this a little bit bigger, and where you're going to do it weekly, or you want to save and have a place where students can go back to those recordings. A tool that I'd recommend is called Anchor. Let me pull that up now. Okay, here I am at Anchor, and this is anchor.fm. I have created a free account for this. This is free for you to use, and so I'd encourage you to create an account for that. Here I am on my dashboard, and you can see here I have a science assignment here where I played around, and this is an episode that I have. If I go to episodes here, you can see that I have a few episodes. Some are untitled because it was just testing I was doing, and I can go back to those if I want. But if I want to look at creating a new episode, in the upper right hand corner up here, I'm going to choose New Episode. I'm going to go there now. Now when I do that, you can see that I have 5 options here of items that I can add into my episode. Over here on the right are those episode components that you can add in and then rearrange if you want. So for example, if one of the things I wanted in here was a transition, or maybe I wanted a little bit of music at the very beginning. You know, many podcasts come in with a little bit of sound effects or something. That's where you're going to want to look down here where it says free music and sound effects. And before I do that, let me just tell you what all 5 of these are. This is, you're going to record your voice, which is at the top because that's what everybody's doing for a podcast in some form or another. A library are things that you have already created in the past and you want to reuse. So there's something that you have recorded, maybe it's the beginning of your episode and you want it to be the same every time, you can pull it from your library. Music here, now don't be confused. Music here, and there is some free music down here. This one is specifically a Spotify music area where if you choose music from here, you can, but your podcast is going to be exclusively on Spotify. So just keep that in mind. If you're using this music, it is tied to Spotify. Your messages here, add listener voice messages to your episode. This is a little more formal. You have people call in and leave messages, and you can actually add those to your episode. And our transitions here at the bottom, free music and sound effects. And that's where we're going to start here. So when I click on this, you can see I've got a lot of different sound effects. So I can click on a couple of these just to show you how they work. And you'll need to go through a few of these just to see if they are even appropriate to what you'd be looking for. This also shows you the length of each one. So this one's 3 seconds, this one's 1 second, and so on. So let's say I was looking for this one. Okay, that's kind of a decent way to start a podcast. Let's listen to a couple more. Oh, I kind of like the bongo. That's kind of neat. Let's see if we scroll down here a little bit more. This one's a little bit longer. So this one's a little more music, a little less sound effecty. All right, I'm going to pick one of those. Let me go back up to the top here. I think I'll pick this one, and I'm going to choose the plus button and add it to my episode. Now let's say the next thing I want to do is record something. So I'll go over here to record. And of course you are going to want to choose your microphone that you're using for your device. And I'm going to choose start recording now. Hi everybody, this is my podcast on Anchor. This is going to use a sound effect and my voice inside of this episode. All right, so I can hear it back after it's done processing. You can see it's today's date, and I can change that by hitting the little pencil icon so I can give it a more meaningful name if I chose to. I'm going to go ahead and add it over to my episode. Let's just hear this real quick. Hi everybody, this is my podcast on Anchor. Okay, you get the idea. If I want to rearrange these, literally drag and drop. That's it. So everything that you're going to put inside of your episode is going to show up on the right side. I just want to show you too, if I choose library, here are all the things that I have recorded. And so I can choose any of these that I want to add back into my episode. I'll add one more transition and finish this out just so we have a couple of things in there. Let's see. How about I'll try our bongos at the end. Okay, again, if I want to flip these and I wanted the bongos first, I can add those to the top and then the bling to the bottom. It really doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. I can preview it and it'll run through exactly in this timeline how it's going to play for me. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to use a sound effect and my voice inside of this episode. It picked up where it left off when it played this for us. Okay, so let's say that's exactly what we want. We're going to go up here and choose Save Episode. Now when it does that, it's asking me for a title. We'll call this Tutorial Practice 2021. Description. I'm just going to write the word description. That's a terrible description, but you would want to put in something more meaningful there. When do I want to publish it? This is a polling that you would only use if you're on Spotify. Again, a few more Spotify pieces. Another interesting thing that you can customize and put a specific picture here with your episode if you wanted to. What season number is this? What episode number? Again, as I mentioned, Anchor is meant to be a little more where you're putting multiple podcasts out there. So you may have season 1 and then you're going to have 4 or 5 episodes. All right, so let's see if I can go ahead and save this. All right, it's asking if I'm ready to publish. I'll go ahead and publish this. We're almost live. It will be available on Spotify shortly. We'll let you know as soon as it's ready. All right, we'll go ahead and hit continue here. Now, I want you to see that while it is looking to add itself to Spotify, you also have an Anchor option where this is just directly back here to this website. So this is something that you can share with your users so that they can find your episode out on Anchor. Okay, to finish us out, I wanted to go to the episodes area one more time to show you just a couple of last minute things. So once your podcast is processed, you'll see these 3 dots next to it. And if I click on those, you can see I've got a few options here. View episode details, copy the public link if you want to share that out with others, download the episode, or delete it. So I want to go to this view episode details and show you one other thing. When we come here, you can see that here's my description and my title and where I would put in my image. All those things can be edited by clicking on the pencil. Here's some ways to share out your podcast if you chose to. But if I scroll down here, I want to show you at the bottom, here are all the components that made up our episode. There's that sound effect, there's the audio file and the sound effect, and that's it all together. If I choose to edit the audio, we can go back and make changes if we choose to. Let me go ahead and click that now. When I do that, you can see I'm back in my area over here and I'm editing this episode. I can do anything I need to here. I can add more sound effects to it. I can also choose to edit this particular, my voice, if I wanted to. I can do that by clicking on these three dots and choose to edit audio. When I do that, it's going to take me to an audio editing tool where I can take out dead air. I can take out segments of it if I chose not to save that. And then you can save that in the lower right hand corner. I'll go ahead and go back. So understand that when you come here, these pieces can still be edited by choosing the edit audio, and you can add more in or clip things out. So just keep in mind that you can always go back and make changes if you want to. So everybody, that is it. That's Anchor. And as you can see, this gets in a lot more detail than the first two tools that I showed you. A little bit of a higher learning curve, but allows you to do a lot more with it. So I'd encourage you again to think about how you could bring podcasting to your classroom, either with existing podcasts, you creating podcasts, or your students creating podcasts. Good luck.